I'm so hot. I'm so sweaty.
Yeah.
Do I look sweaty?
No, you don't look
Yeah,
sweaty.
but you are.
I mean, the fact that you're hot and we're both in hoodies.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say you are kind of coming down from an illness and all sorts.
For the benefit of our 4 listeners, if I cough horrifically during this.
4 listeners?
I've had a chest infection. I don't know, it could be more than that. I've not really.
I was going to say, the 4 listeners.
That's
4.
No, because we get it on the video beforehand. So we don't count as the listeners. The first one we would have counted it because we listened to it on Spotify, but now you send the video to us. We don't.
I've been still listening on Spotify.
You're
just listening to the first one and then don't add it. Don't listen.
To the
there you go.
The
Not even supporting his friend.
That's what the videos he sent.
Yeah. Just don't support your friends. Do you actually follow him on Instagram as well?
Who?
He's counselling.
Who?
Welcome. How are we doing?
Yeah.
Alright. I'm here.
Good.
Awake.
So because Rich couldn't make it for whatever reason, today I thought we would talk more about being dads. Because I get sick of Rich telling us how good his life is. That
Without
he's
kids.
got responsibility.
How much time he's got. And
Yeah.
Good switch off.
Bastard. Yeah. Not that we're jealous at all.
No.
No. So I wanted to kick it off with the first question. Really is there anything that surprised you about becoming a dad? I know it's a little while ago, like initially for you guys now. But is there anything that kind of really
just that test being positive? Oh no.
I don't think so. I don't. Again, so for the viewers or the listeners, mine and Rob's kids are 10 days apart. It's less than 2 weeks, but like by a couple of days.
Yeah. Mad.
And I know we have very different circumstances on how it all came about. We know the actual format in bed. You've got a different circumstance in labour and all sorts.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes.
But ultimately, I know I don't think there's been any massive surprises yet. I'm just kind of taking every challenge as it comes, when it comes, in a way.
I mean, I think for me, like everyone always says like, oh, how much you love your kids and stuff like that, and you're always kind of like, oh yeah, I love them like no matter what. But I think actually then that feeling of it still surprises me now. I'd say maybe kind of thing. Like I know that Frankie and Ella, I utterly adore them, and as much as I hate them at times because how irritating they are my utter pride and joy. And everyone always says it will be, and of course you're going to love your kids, but how much that is actually true is quite like a wow thing. They are two brightest things of my day, without a doubt, even if they're being irritating. And I think, that ability to just love them every second. I can look at kid photos of them now and it literally just destroys me of how much I love them. And I think that really surprises me. I knew I'd love them, but how much, you don't know until you know.
No.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Like that kind of saying, like you would die for your kids.
Oh yeah, anything for
and
them.
that never really kind of, you hear that all the time.
You're just like,
to
of course I will. Yeah, of course, yeah.
You would like.
So.
Well, I don't know.
Yeah, no. I know.
I'm throwing them under a bus.
So it's really weird. So I heard someone podcast was talking about a similar thing. Well, they were talking about fitness. So obviously, I'm into my fitness in particular at the moment. I'm doing a marathon. I'm raising money for Epilepsy Society.
Link in the description.
Put it there now.
But no, and they were saying the typical saying is you would die for your kids, but if you could change anything about yourself, would it not be, I want to live every moment for my kids? So like this is obviously talking about the fitness side of it, and it's very much kind of they overcross at the same time. if that makes sense. But yeah, I think that the dying
Yeah.
for your kids is if they were ever in trouble,
Yeah.
and I would take every moment I can with my kids for just enjoying
Yeah.
being with them.
I guess the dying thing is like, it's the ultimate sacrifice. In a way,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah.
Like, I would do that
Yeah.
for them, but
Well, I suppose yours is more thinking about how can I
spend more time?
how can I stretch my life to make sure it lasts as long as possible, but also I'm physically present throughout it, so I can live with my children's during their life.
Yeah. So obviously, we sadly lost my father-in-law very quickly, and lucky enough, Stephen does still remember him. Always mentions bits and pieces about him and asks questions, which is absolutely great. But I can also see at the same time, it bites at Charlie a little bit,
Yeah.
which is inevitable. When that happened, that was almost my turning point of, at the time I'd have the odd cigarette on the golf course and all sorts. I'd be drinking quite a lot. I'd takeaways quite a lot. I wasn't really bothered about that. Happened. I went, he was quite fit. He wasn't an abuser of his body as such, other than maybe when he went on holiday. And I thought, if that could happen to someone that's healthy, I know it's cancer at the end of the day. It's going to happen. Do you know what I mean? Cancer's horrible. And that was my turning point of going, I want to spend every minute of my life that I possibly can with Stephen. And if I can, I don't know, like running, if I can, I don't want to be that dad that's, that he can't run alongside with, or can't take him for a bike ride or anything like that. So that was my kind of my turning point of that. I know that's going off topic from your question, but
Well, it's
I
just
don't
perspective.
think it is, because I think
Perspective.
I know you talk about Steve and seeing Charlie's grief from your point of view, and I can't help but think, obviously my mum passed away in the same year, 6 months later or whatever it was, after Steve did, and I would love to be at that point where you are, seeing it from that way. Like, I know that I could probably be a little bit fitter, I could be healthier, I could do a little bit more exercise and stuff. I don't want to use the grief as an excuse, but I still feel like I'm in that. Like
It's not the point to use it as like a tool to better something. It's still something you're processing, and
I think so. Yeah, I think I would really want to be to a point where, like, I know you're into the gym. I know we're going to talk about fitness and stuff in another episode and all of that kind of stuff anyway. But I know that, like, obviously you're getting into your gym and stuff now.
Yeah.
Obviously you're running marathons and doing whatever.
Marathons.
yeah, so
Marathons,
marathons. I'm raising money for Epilepsy Society.
The other week, I ran around the park.
Yeah. But I would love to be that. I would love to do that. But at the moment, I don't think I've got it in me. I don't know whether it's because obviously Ella, Frankie, and Stephen are a lot older now.
Yeah, absolutely.
Evie's
When
nearly 4.
I wanted to go to the gym when, well, it's supposed to be before Frankie and Ella were born, but when they were younger, and say that when they were the same age as Evie, I still wanted to go to the gym, but I didn't have the time, and that was mentally, that was literally physically as parent, and even the part of just leaving Sarah at home with the kids, I didn't have any time for that. I'm at the point now where I'm like, okay, I can try and do this and it not have a knock-on effect where, you probably aren't. I wasn't in the position that you are now, where I was like, I can go do that.
So potentially, what the original question was, what has surprised about, is almost how, although everyone tells you, but you never know until it's, how exhausting it is. It is. That's exactly all consuming. Not that it's a negative, and you would never, I don't think any of us would ever take any of our kids as a negative, but I think it doesn't matter how many times someone tells you, oh, this is going to happen. It happens, and you go, whoa.
I do think now, the amount of freedom I had 2-3 years ago, I never thought I'd have as much freedom as I've got now. And I then do now think, oh, how much freedom am I going to have in 4 years' time, 5 years, 6 years' time, 10 years' time? So I think I'm at the point now where I can see not parenting being less, but the hands-on parenting or the independence of my children, how that actually does change my life. But yeah, when you are a younger parent, and it's, I say younger parent, sounds like you're the parent, but a parent to very young children, it does just take over everything. It unless you're at work, you're a parent, and you don't have to be with them to be thinking about it or stressing about it or exhausted from it. So yeah.
How much do you think being a dad has changed your identities?
I think quite. I'd say for all three of us, loads. I don't think we've changed as people, but I think it's brought out things of us a lot more. I think we spoke before. We're saying about how you just get involved and just you'll be like, right, kids, let's go do this. That was always you, but it's not more, but it is more because that does show who you are. Like you are just such a gentle, nurturing person, and so just kind of lovely to people. And then you are more to our kids, to your kids. You just see it so much more. I can't.
It's almost amplified what our natural abilities or skills were.
Natural personalities are, yeah.
We're just searching for your one.
I literally in my head I was like, what is mine? I was like, I don't really know. Other than just maybe being there. I think that's probably one of my better things. I just like to be present and around if I'm needed. So I think that's probably mine. But yeah, I think it makes what your traits are, or some of your natural nurturing personalities, they just are used more, so they are present so much more.
I think I've become more empathetic and more
Bald.
Yeah, a lot more bald. I did have hair when he.
I said it. I thought and I was like,
your mouth open before
before you said empathetic, your man went bald, and I was like, sorry.
Yes, yeah, I did have hair when he was around, when he was born. But yeah, empathetic for one, and then more in a mixture between kind of, I've mentioned it before, Stephen and Charlie are my main family, and that is my main kind of circle, and then anything out there kind of I will slowly bring in as and when they need. And I've kind of, would that have happened if me and Charlie didn't have a child and it was just me and Charlie, we never decided to have kids or whatever? I'm sure we would have had 100 cats by now.
That's not enough.
No, exactly. But yeah, I'd say empathetic, definitely. I feel anyway, as you said, you might be looking and going, have you really?
Oh, yeah.
But I think things have happened and I've always go, well, how does that person feel about that? And I always almost look at the two-sided story where beforehand I might have just gone, you know what, yes, I agree with so-and-so. That you're wrong about that, and I would have been straight down the line. Very kind of a lot more diplomatic about situations, understanding that there's two sides to a story. And I don't know how Stephen has brought that out in me. I don't know why he's brought that out in me as such, but I feel that he has.
Like I see you when you talk to Stephen, I think yes, you are more empathetic. I can see when he's struggling with something, and you're like, right, mate, come on, let's just talk about it. Let's see what's going on, and that's you trying to be like, tell me your side, and I'm going to try and understand it, and I'm going to try and teach you the viewpoint that we know. And I think that's what it is. You can't just say to an adult, to a child, an adult way of viewing things, because they haven't got that comprehension of it. So we have to take on another's understanding and another way to explain it.
I think Charlie is very and she always has been very compassionate and very empathetic. She's with me at the end of the day. She must have.
Saint.
Honestly.
So
She's
I
being
think-
paid by the government.
No, she must be. There must be some form of financial gain. She's just waiting for it. But so I think having a child has kind of made me try and take some of that on of her. I've tried to blend some of her personality into my, because she can't always be there, and I don't want Stephen to always go, something's up, I've got to go to mum. Something's up, I've got to go to nan. I want to be that partner. I think you mentioned it. One of you mentioned it before about that you want to be. Yeah, no, I think it was yourself.
Yeah, I think so.
That you want to be the both sides.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I've tried to take it on. I think if you asked me 7-8 years ago, let's say, about, again, a question, I would have been very harsh around the scenario. And now I think maybe I've just matured a little bit. How about yourself?
For me, I don't really know if I've changed too much or if it's changed my identity too much.
No, yeah, I wouldn't say so.
Because I've always loved the idea of being a dad anyway, and it's always been a role that
You're
I've kind
destined for.
Yeah, I kind of
Yeah,
always wanted that, and I've worked with kids a lot over the years and stuff as well. So I think what it has changed is my level of patience
Yeah.
has changed. I thought I was very patient,
Yeah.
not so much now.
Yeah.
But I think it's also brought into my awareness how much I've still got to learn about myself, and I know that sounds like a really deep kind of answer,
Oh my god, yes.
but I've got loads to learn about myself still, just by being Evie's dad, and I've got another one on the way,
Yeah.
and how I'm going to navigate that, I have no idea.
It's actually kind of strange how all three of us having kids have got all in different situations. Like you
Yeah.
just have one child. I've got two the same age. You're going to have two but different ages.
ages.
None of us have had the same
Experience. No.
So many people would be like, oh yeah, I've got this age and that age. And you'd be like, oh yeah, I've got this age and that age too, and they're different ages, but you've got similar experiences.
Yeah.
We do have three entirely different.
Yeah.
Selves.
And I
Yeah.
I was always very jealous of the both of you having
That's
kids.
understandable. Look at us.
Oh well, look at you, handsome devils. But like I remember you. But I remember you both telling me that you guys were expecting a baby.
Yeah.
The
Yeah.
year I was going travelling,
Yeah.
and I always felt like I think I've had this conversation with you, Luke. Actually, I've always kind of felt like the odd one out.
Yeah.
Out of the two of you, I know you guys have always, you've grown up together, you've been closer, and then to kind of you had that experience
At the same
together
Yeah.
more. I was like, oh, like I felt really kind of out of that.
Yeah, I can't understand, but I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then since having Evie, and I was like that for a while. I think since until I had Evie, I think, and then I kind of felt more in the loop again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even though that was my experience, and you might view that very differently, but like I was watching you two be dads, and that was quite an experience in that way, knowing you both so well, seeing you both grow kind of together and kind of blossom as people as dads, and I was like, oh, like I can't wait for that to kind of join in. Yeah, a little bit. But then when Evie was here, I didn't necessarily feel that. It was like it was more of a, not that I was playing catch up. I was able to share that experience a little bit more, and then come to you for advice or just a listening ear.
Would you say because of that, you felt maybe your identity almost came into, you almost stepped into your identity of being a dad rather than being Mike the uncle and stuff, and then it was Mike the dad who is also the uncle, the bar.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, maybe. I think I did always kind of, not an outsider, I don't think that's the right word, with like the kids and stuff. I don't think I necessarily felt like an outsider. I've always felt included with you guys and your families. But I think once having Evie was just it was
shackles off.
it was another level,
Yeah.
and it was like he shackles off. Yeah, it was more freeing, I guess, to go to almost show
I'm
your
now
kids.
part of the gang.
It was like a not a badge of honor. That's such a weird thing to say, but it was
I know
just
what you mean. Yeah.
it was a really nice experience, and having
you now had an understanding of where we were at,
yeah.
and we then had probably not an understanding, but a mutual position of now all in the same place.
Yeah,
kind of thing.
and what I really appreciated from you, and you probably don't know this, but you was never ones to kind of go like, "Oh, I told you this would happen," or "You wait till this point," or you both were very kind of like, "I know it's tough." Like, but do you know
We
what
better
I mean?
not tell him.
Yeah, do you know, or keeping secrets from me or whatever.
Yeah.
But it was
The thing is, you
were
found
never
how
pushy
hard
or-
it is, and then you decided to have a second as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You've even got really bad memory
I didn't
loss.
have a choice.
yeah. But we'll see. But again, like you said, this is going to be a new experience
Yeah.
for our friendship group, is to have an extra one.
Yeah.
And that's not been done
No.
in our friendship group.
No, I think it's kids are like the question was like, how's it kind of change personality, isn't it? I think mine, obviously, having Frank and Ella, obviously having Ella was quite a difficult first year in a way, which wasn't very well.
Yeah.
And going back onto it's making me learn a lot about myself. I think mine, I've been quite fragile throughout being a parent, without a doubt. I've had quite traumatic moments through it, which have almost broken me entirely. But it's also taught me how that as a dad, you're always going to be there, and that putting someone before you is going to happen, and it's like the right way to do it. But I think it's taught me that I need to keep changing. Like I think we've spoken before that I am probably one of the snappy is probably the wrong word, but I'm not as good when I'm angry, I think. And I don't necessarily always cope with that in front of the girls. But I know that I then need to be on a path to better myself for them, not just be like, well, this is who I am. So constantly looking at my personality and the way I handle things, and like, that isn't good enough for them. So I'm going to try to recognise what I'm not doing right and then change it. And I think that's what a parent should be. We're 34. I'm always now looking back, thinking back when I was like 15 or whatever, or even 20, or being like, 34-year-olds are going to know exactly what they're doing. Not knowing that probably 34-year-olds are how we're feeling now, of like, I haven't got a clue about anything. So I think as I'm learning, I need to learn how to be a good parent. Even if I'm being a good parent right now, that doesn't mean next week or when the girls are 7, I'm still going to be a good parent. I'm going to have to adapt and change and grow just as much as they are. I'm an adult, but that doesn't mean I'm a finished, complete adult.
I kind of wanted to come on to the experience of birth, really. You kind of alluded to there, Rob, like obviously you didn't have a great time. I know it was 17 years ago now.
Yeah.
But was there, like, being a dad, how much support was there for you during that time, if you can remember?
Other than from my wife or like family or say like you two, none, to be honest. Wasn't any. It was obviously when we were born, we had Ella, who was really quite poorly, and she was essentially in hospital for a kind of round up to say the first year of her life, really. And I think I very easily, as a dad, could have been like, right, things aren't going very well, Ella needs this or Ella needs that, let's just let the nurses or doctors or my wife Sarah do it. And I think if I would have just been one of those dads that just sat back and just went, "This is too much, I can't do it," that would have been it. It would have been like, right, okay, that just doesn't do anything, and then that's it. Whilst I was very much like, I've got to get involved so I can then be there to get Ella through this. Not necessarily help her through it, because some of it wasn't particularly nice for her, but it was, we've got to get her through it. And then that then encouraged me to do more, but also encouraged the nurses and the doctors to be like, right, okay, this dad is going to do something. But that was just kind of from my own drive, to do it for Ella, to do it for my wife, so she didn't have to do all of the horrible bits. And then I think just advice you get from your parents or people who are going through it too, or even just when I'm talking to you guys, just being like, how's it going? Oh yeah, it's tough, or it's tiring, or it's lovely. And there was that was it really, and it was perfectly enough. It certainly was, but there wasn't anything. That whole classic of you've had your baby, then you go home from hospital, and then you're like, well, what do I do now? And you've got to figure it out. Yeah, that was really it. Mine obviously was mainly just sat next to a hospital bed for a long time. So I think it's going to be harder for me. Like, I think yours is going to be different, because obviously I know you had Charlie's, the C-section and that, but after you kind of still went home. Whilst we had to send. We brought one twin home whilst one stayed at hospital, and then we had to go up to hospital with the other twin whilst the other twin went and stayed with my mum and dad for a week. So I think when Frankie was 3 weeks old, we didn't see her for a week. So it's very strange in how ours like developed and grew. Like, I learned to be a dad for the first 7 months in a hotel room rather than at home in comforts and that. And I think the way you handle things, like, again, I think we gave. We didn't give birth. I didn't give birth to him. Sarah gave birth to the girls, and we spent that night in hospital. Then the next night we went home without twins, because they was both in ICU or in NICU or whatever it is. So I think how support rolls out is just strange. Mainly me and my wife being there for each other was the ultimate. Like, it was obviously the awful, most stressful time. But I think when we was in the hotel rooms, we argued twice, I think, because we just were in it together and there together. And that support was just, if I was struggling, she gave me that time to struggle. If she was struggling, I gave her that time to struggle. We struggled together, we cuddled and cried together, and yeah, I don't know, yeah.
Do you feel like you needed anything more from professionals, or? Yeah,
I mean, eventually I had to go to counselling, because we had quite a traumatic experience with Ella, obviously, we know. But I most certainly got to breaking point through not coping and stress of it. So yeah, I think having, obviously when we was in the hospitals with Ella, there was a lot of like, right, Ella needs this, Ella needs that, you're going to have to go and learn this, this machine's now come along and that's got to happen and this, and you've got to go home and cope. And yeah, there was no really how's mum and dad, especially not how's dad, definitely not. Yeah, I think.
Do you think that would have made a difference if there was that?
Maybe, because I do think now, when I went and had therapy, that saved me 1,000%, because I was on the very urge of a breakdown. Every day going home was, I just driving home was horrible. Getting to the door was, opening the front door, I don't know what I'm going to find, and I was always at the point every day was that fight or flight. Every day I remember putting my hand on the door and being like, right, should I run away today? No, because I can't leave my wife and I can't leave my children. That would be the worst thing to do. In we go. But if I didn't go to therapy, I don't know if there would have become a day where I'd have gone, no, I'm going, I'll see you later, and then just don't know. So yeah, I think going to therapy was incredible. I went and I spoke. The first session was awful because I was like, I don't know what am I doing. Like, I don't want to stay there. Like, just talk to me about what's going on. And then I think by the fourth session, I was looking forward to it. I'm gonna go talk to him today. So yeah, I think if there had been people to talk to, not just about what my daughter needed, medical wise. Like, yeah, you talked to the nurses and talked to the doctors and got to know them. Was on first name basis with half of them. Yeah, but it wasn't how are you and that kind of thing. So yeah, I think it certainly would have helped without a doubt. Yeah, therapy was incredible for me at that point. So yeah,
shout out to therapy.
Yeah, honestly, I really annoys me because I can't remember her name, but the therapist I had, I love her. Yeah. I really did. Yeah, she was amazing.
Yeah, so obviously Charlie had a different. We were able to take Stephen home.
Yeah. Fairly,
basically, I think it was the next day. We shouldn't have. Well, we found out later on she lost too much blood, and we weren't allowed. We shouldn't have been able to be out of the hospital. But yeah, you let him live. We found out anyway.
Live and let learn.
That's the one. Yeah, so. I don't think there's in the hospital. Let's go pre-birth. There's not enough for the man. However, I think I'd struggle to find where you need it. There's so many different. So obviously, the women get obviously all the natal lessons, prenatal lessons, and they get lots of different help. And this is how it's going to be, and all sorts. And the man can go along, but it's very much this is for the woman. If you want to come along, it's fine. I think there could almost be ones for men to go to, and it might be that they've tried that and it's fell on its head because men generally don't like talking or don't like going to them classes. But I think that would have been handy because my anticipation, is the right word? My thoughts on birth was Charlie was going to be induced. Within a couple of hours, Charlie was going to have a baby, and there's my kid. And it was basically going to be in and out, in a sense, in 12 hours. When
I could do the popping noise, I would.
Yes.
Yeah, basically, that's kind of in the long and short of it, basically. But I think it was 4 days. Yeah. And them chairs are awful.
Oh yeah. But it's hard. Like, not I get why it's awful because they are going through so much. They are going through the almightiest change they're going to go through in their lives, and we are just sitting and watching. Really.
Yeah.
Like there isn't a whole. There's nothing really happening to us other than that anticipation. And say in the hospital they can't bring some big fancy chair from us because they need the room for the women to have their room, isn't it?
Room, it's money.
Really, where are they going to bring the help from us? Because we don't actually need much other than maybe us being I'm going to be a dad.
But then I think
women are going through so much. But yeah,
I then think in the room, or not in the room, but in the actual suite, let's say, it can be more accommodating for people to be there for longer. It's only accommodating for people to come in and out.
Yeah, yours was a long one.
Ours was really long. I think my sister's was quite long. And then we had complications as well, which, as I said, meant that we should have stayed in longer, but we didn't. And then afterwards, it was very much. I went down to the midwife, the main midwife, whatever she's called, and I went, "Can we sign out?" And she was like, "Oh yeah, the doctor's going to come around, make sure everything's fine, sign the papers, and just let us out." The doctor obviously didn't look at the notes to see that we'd lost loads of blood. But then even that one night that we stayed, it got to, I think it was like 10 o'clock at night or wherever it was, and I'm sitting on the side of the bed or the chair with Charlie. We've got Stephen at the end, and the nurse comes around. She goes, "Are you going home?" Is that my kid's literally like not even a day old. My wife's still throwing up, and not well. Why am I leaving? Like, yeah, we don't allow men to stay overnight. So she wanted us to kick out.
Yeah.
And it was for my wife to turn around and said, no, he is not going anywhere. Then we had another traumatic experience as well after that. But that was more, again, the midwife was useless. But then as we left, or following us leaving, there's nothing for the man in the sense of extra care. Again, the nurse comes round to check on Stephen, to check on Charlie. But I was back at work in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So, 2 weeks? I think it might have been a week, and then I went back for a week, and then had another week.
Yeah.
I think I split it up.
You did, yeah.
So, there was nothing, realistically. Nothing that I would have seen. There was no leaflets to say, have you thought about counselling, group counselling for people that have had kids in the same area or anything like that. Again, all the baby classes. Charlie didn't actually decide to go to any of the baby classes, but if she did, she could have met up with, obviously she could have met up with Sarah, and we have got another friend who had a kid the same age. She could have made friends and had spoke out her experiences with them. But for me, if I was on my own, and I didn't really want to speak much about it with yourself because you were going through such a traumatic experience, it was almost like, I don't want to put added pressure onto it. I essentially had no one to talk to.
Yeah.
And it was, as you kind of pointed out, it's lucky that me and Charlie had a good, strong relationship, that we were able to talk to bits and pieces. If I was having a kid where I wasn't with that person anymore, I can imagine that's the stress of that is a killer.
Communication.
Because you're going, I want to see my kid, but I can only come over at certain times and certain points. But I've also got to get work and all sorts in.
But
So
also,
it's-
you only want me to come over at certain times as well. So I can do these times, but you want these
Yeah.
times. Yeah.
And then when I go through that door, I've got to be happy and smiley. And I can completely understand what you were saying. Walking through that door, it's a bit of a fight-and-flight situation. Obviously, not so much fight and flight for me, but more as I'm going through that door, I know full well Charlie's gonna bombard me with Steve's done this, Steve's done that, Steve's done this, or I'm really tired, I haven't done this. And it's not her way of moaning, but it's, I might have been that only adult contact she's had that day. And I've just got to smile, take it, say, you go upstairs, do what you want, go and have a bath, I'll deal with Stephen. And I loved it because I loved taking on that pressure. But when it comes to if there's enough support.
Well, it's never enough still, is it? Like coming in and just being like, right, okay, you go do this, I'm going to do this. It's still not helping enough, but you have got to go to work. Like it's like, I don't think I could have been a stay-at-home dad. Obviously, Sarah's given birth. She's entitled to a maternity.
See, I think I could have been a stay-at-home dad.
No, I don't think I could have.
I think I would have absolutely lapped that up.
No, I would have gone utterly stir crazy. So then when I think about how much Sarah was at home, and again, obviously I don't want to keep going back to it was hard, but we did have a child that was a constant worry. But her having that stress every day of I'm going to be at home, but also she's got to sort out 2 people. Like, yeah, I've got to go to work and deal with 30 other children, but that isn't 2 babies who are my babies, and I don't know what I'm doing with them. I would have gone utterly stir crazy. So I fully respect how she did
I fully respect her for it because I organised a golf trip for 14 people this week or this year, and that was carnage. And they were adults, let alone 2 twins.
Adults
at
can be worse.
7, 8 months and stuff. But
Yeah, I fully respect anybody that is at home and they're just learning to be a parent and just doing it. Because I know I couldn't. I know within a week I'd be a mess of I can't do this anymore. Yeah.
No, I think I would have really. Yeah, no, I would have absolutely loved to. And if we were in the position where Charlie could have gone back, or she what was willing to swap or share the paternity a bit more and stuff. I would have, and she always like laughs and jokes because, oh, you wouldn't have been able to cope and stuff because you're always outside and stuff. She spent loads of time outside. She was always out and about and doing stuff.
Yeah.
The only thing that would hinder us and hinder me would obviously be the driving licence, not being able to get out when it's cold as such.
Just teach the kid from really young.
What about yourself,
Yeah.
Mr. Malone?
Yeah, I don't think there was much support really. Looking back, I remember one moment when G was in labour, where we had a student midwife in, and she was the only person that turned around to me and went, "Are you okay?" And I cried.
Oh, really?
I was like, "No." G was telling me to fuck off, and
No.
there's so many
That's
doctors.
not- doesn't sound like
honestly.
her.
I was like, "Do you want a drink?" She was like, "No," just shoving me away or whatever. But
Don't
no,
offer a
but-
drink on the next one.
no, I got got
Just
plan
sit there
for
with a
the next one.
milkshake.
Get that student one back.
We're gonna do so many things differently this time. But yeah, she was the only one that said, "You were right. You need anything?" And I was like, that felt amazing, but equally I was like, also felt really guilty because I was like, "Don't ask me. Like I'm not the one that
Yeah.
in massive pain kind of thing." So there was, although you kind of want someone to ask you, you also don't because
Yeah.
you know, like you said, you're watching the everything kind of unfold.
Yeah.
Which I think is a traumatic experience. I talk to a lot of clients and dads and stuff that have obviously witnessed childbirth, and okay, yes, it's traumatic for the women. Any birth is traumatic, but it's equally, not as in maybe not equally, but it is still a traumatic experience to kind of watch that. I think because it's watching the person you love go through that horrific amount of pain.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just talking about the labour, but like the aftermath, like that you had and stuff as well. There's so much, I guess, responsibility for the mum to kind of do everything and be on top of everything. And me and she have had conversations about it in the past, kind of looking back to when Evie was little and how much she struggled really in the first sort of few weeks. Having to kind of learn everything and do everything. So every time I'd come home from work, it was almost like a debrief. She was like, "Okay, Evie's having this amount of milk now, this time. And I was like, "Okay." And we've had a conversation in the past where it's like, I just felt like I was learning and teaching you at the same time, which probably added to that kind of pressure. But equally, I couldn't learn that like that. Things were changing so quickly in those little
The amount of
moments.
experience she was getting was less.
Yeah.
Because she was,
Because I had to be at work. You know. Luckily, the role I was doing at the time, I was working from home, little bits and pieces only. But the time I was out for long periods of the day, and sort of coming home, and things already kind of changing, or different routines, or just seeing the look of just defeat sometimes on her face. Just
and you then got to
heavy,
find the
isn't it?
advice to make it better, but you're learning and you're like, I'll give this advice, but I've done
I don't
less
have
of
any answers. Like even though, you know, we did like an online antenatal class or whatever it was together, and doing as much reading or whatever beforehand, that's still not enough experience because it's so different, isn't it? It's so
theory
different.
is not always practical. Yeah.
Like I remember the first night being home, and she had a spinal block in the end because she had a forceps delivery. Excuse me. So she stayed one night in the hospital. I had to leave because it was just at the end of COVID stuff, so I had to leave and come back for her in the morning. But the first night at home, because she was getting over all like the morphine and all that sort of stuff, she was just physically just shaking and just couldn't hold Evie at all. And Evie was crying. We was trying to breastfeed, but she felt like she didn't get much support in how to do that at the hospital.
Yeah.
And we was like, do we use formula or what? Like, we was all just a mess, really. Sleepless nights. We was just wrecked. And I remember just holding. It felt like I was holding Evie for hours while she was screaming. I was just like, I don't know if I could do this.
Yeah.
Like, obviously at that point it's far too late. But like, do you know what I mean? But he's just like, I don't know how I'm gonna manage this at all. And like, my mum was the first person. I was like, Mum, please come help me. Come help me. And then that was like an angel that walked through the door. She just picked up Evie, and Evie settled like straight away. And I was like, you're not leaving. Please don't leave.
You can see why people do
100%.
not let their parents leave.
I know.
Yeah.
But I remember there's not much kind of mental health support that gets offered to you. I think if you asked for it, I think there'd be more. But even like now, going to midwife appointments and stuff, you see the occasional kind of leaflets and posters up on the walls and stuff for like dads groups and things, but they're always like a tiny little poster in the corner of the notice board, or
I don't ever see any of them.
Like, or that question's never asked for midwives as well. I don't think.
I think it's strange. You just kind of have to hope to survive, and you've got to figure it out. And not everyone has to just figure it out. Like, as much as our parents come along being like, right, this is how you do it.
Yeah.
You do find your own way of doing it. We've 3 different parents here, and we were parented 3 different ways, and we've all got different experience of how we had that line come along, but we still do it differently. So I think there is the element of parenting is all about failing, and then getting up again, and then going and doing better for them.
Yeah.
But like, that failing is one of the best times to learn, but being a new parent is the hardest time. Or even to admit, a new parent now, to 6, nearly 7-year-olds, sometimes failing, not parenting properly, is so hard, and it is so irritating, and you just have to learn it in that moment, and then hope you do better again. But there isn't a book on how to do it, and you do just have to figure it out, and it does suck, and it is so hard. But you just have to take your experiences on, and then, right, how do we then go again? I can see why people don't stick around, because it is hard. I think especially with men, because it is, well, I just don't know, so some go. But none of us know.
No, I find that so frustrating. I don't know about you guys.
Stereotype of it drives me mad.
Yeah, but I think more recently, for me, I've been trying to be so much more grateful, I think, as a parent, and I think doing the work I've been doing recently. So I am one of the counsellors for Making Miracles, which is the baby loss charity, and I've done quite a lot of work for them recently. Obviously, having our own miscarriage earlier in the year as well, it kind of changed things. But doing more recent work with women and men, actually, quite a few men, around their experience of losing babies, and it's not just in pregnancy. It's like giving birth to stillborns, or 20, 30 weeks in, kind of miscarriages and stuff. That, for me, has just put a whole new perspective on being a parent, I think. And it's a really awful and sad thing to kind of talk about and deal with, and I don't think that conversation gets spoken about enough. That topic doesn't get spoken about enough, I think, but I don't really know where I'm going with this, but
I think what we get told and what we get taught, even like from when you're at school, is essentially it is so easy to have a child, and when you have a
Yeah.
child, it's going to change your life, and it's going to be this, it's going to be that.
Yeah.
When you're at school, it's almost
It just happens.
it just happens. They don't explain that actually the chances of you having a baby in the
Yeah.
sense of it even working is a miracle in itself. And then the chances of that to last in 42 weeks, is it?
Yeah. I should know
42
this.
weeks, yeah. Oh, the full term.
Yeah, full time.
Going the full term is a miracle, and then there to be no complications, because the amount the female body has got to adjust is phenomenal. And then on top of that, the body all changes preparing for when the baby comes. And it's like the whole idea of that, a year to a year and a half basically of a female body making them adjustments, is phenomenal
Yeah.
and is a miracle in itself. But what we get told in school, I know it was quite a few years, but it's basically, if you have sex with someone, you're getting them up the duff, it's going to ruin your life. First time. Do you know what I mean? They don't really teach you the negative, or not so much the negatives, but how it could go wrong.
Responsibility, yeah. I don't know, but is that... Do you have to deal with any of that? Teach any of that sort of
Yeah,
stuff?
absolutely. So we teach RSE, which is obviously about sex education, and it is changing in schools. And they've looked at models in like Denmark and stuff like that of the way they teach and look at their teenage pregnancies. And it's not talking about the responsibilities of babies, but it is teaching about essentially how a baby's made from a very young age, but more of kind of like what the body is. So I'll be so like they'll have year ones talking about exactly what body parts are, the proper names. I've done year 5 lessons to boys and girls about like what periods are. I've done lessons in year 4 to what periods are, to get them to understand not only their body but the opposite sex's body and the changes they'll go through, so that hopefully when they get to teenage years and puberty and late puberty, they have an understanding of what's going on to talk about it if they need to, rather than what's going on and then just being like, what is going, like, this is
Panic.
awful, this is terrifying, or being completely out of the know of the opposite sex. So if there was a teenage boy, obviously the viewpoint I have it of is that I'll be teaching a young boy now, so that when he's a teenage boy, he will be able to, if he's got a boyfriend and girlfriend and they're going through periods, he's understanding that a period is the menstrual cycle and what could be happening. So if they are doing things, they're understanding what the cycle is. So it's not so much as teaching the responsibility sides of it, but maybe making them more aware of what the female cycle is for boys and girls, and how that can lead to babies, essentially. So the things I've taught children is certainly making them more aware than what I think we were. I think when we was in like late secondary school, I might have been learning what period was kind of thing and still be thinking like, I don't really want to know what it is. Whilst now I've had year 4 children, boys fully being like, oh yeah, it's this, like, and that. Oh yeah, it's fine, and I've got to respect it when I'm older, and it can.
So we talked with Stephen about it already.
Yeah.
In the sense of like he'll ask about Charlie.
Yeah.
And stuff, and Charlie's always been very blunt about it. This is what it is. It's the body. You can't change it.
There are parents out there that don't want their parents learning it at all. Even when you're talking about like a year 1 child knowing that like a woman has breasts and a boy has testicles, and obviously I get it. They're obviously very young, but the idea behind it is teach them what they have or what the opposite sex have very young, so that there are more understanding. I think it was Denmark. It changed it a while ago. I think it was Denmark, and it was something like their teenage pregnancies was next to nothing compared to ours, which was a ludicrous percentage. So I think that's kind of where the base is coming from. You was talking about something about like support for adults, and it just took me down a bit of a memory lane of when I was on. We was in a NICU ward, and there I was on NICU ward, and Ella was in hospital, and we were just at a point where we're just kind of waiting for the next stage of her growing to maybe have operations or whatever. And there were parents on that ward who were losing their babies. And being a parent there, like I had one dad come up to me one time who had just lost his kid, and he essentially was, I think, ready to like outpour to me how awful it was, and I couldn't get away from that dad fast enough, and I feel so horrible for it now. It literally, I could sit here and I could cry about it if I was actually physically able to cry, but we'd passed a few times each other. We'd been there for a couple of weeks together, kind of thing. So I like knew him. He knew me. Didn't really, and it just happened to him. And he wanted to outpour, and I couldn't think about getting away from that person, because I was just like, my child's in there, like clinging on.
Yeah.
Yours isn't there. But I look back now, and obviously they would have supported him and the mum because they had just had it. But I genuinely, I struggled to then go back to Sarah and was like, this has just happened. And I sat in panic and worry for how long is that going to be till we're in that situation, without that element of maybe that support coming in. Did talk to Sarah about it in the end, and eventually I think I spoke to my mum about it. But I felt very lost on that ward. People around me not going through similar situations, because they went through something horrendous, but just being like, I can't help you. And I didn't know if you wanted help or if you just wanted someone to speak to, but then I didn't have anyone to speak to either about things, and just how even now is I could still, I know I could take you to the exact spot that he spoke to me, and just how hard it is to just be like in those moments, all those different moments we're going through, of how I don't know how I coped, to be honest, like lucky maybe, and it's just that question of support of what is there. Talking to Sarah about it, my mum visited loads, that enormously helped. But
it's important though to highlight, isn't it? And I think it's about thinking of the unthinkable. Like I couldn't imagine going through something like that bloke did. Like, and it petrifies me. Obviously G's pregnant now, and it's very hard sometimes to get excited about that, because there's always that this could happen, and I've been around a lot of that now, and talking to lots of different people who have had those kind of experiences. So it's almost part of my brain is like,
you can't ignore it.
I can't ignore it. Like I'm so excited for this new baby and what it's going to bring, but equally I also need to prepare myself just in case. If it, like, touch wood, like whatever, like just that little niggle.
You don't want to prepare yourself, and
I don't want to.
And there's no need to prepare yourself, but then there's always that demon of, yeah, especially with what you've been through in the last year as well. It's and honestly, that's why me and Sarah haven't had another one, because of like we were both on the same place with it, but I adamantly, after Ella was like, I'm not having any more children. I mean, I've spent the last 5 years, to be honest. I think it's only really this year, or so last year, gave me a bit of hypnotherapy. But I spent 5 years terrified of babies and not wanting to go near them, to the point where if people have a baby, I'll be like, Sarah, I don't know if I can come, or I don't think.
Bless you.
Jinx. Can't say anything.
Bless you.
You can't say anything. I trust you. But yeah, we would have conversation. I'd be like, Sarah, is there going to be a baby there? And she'd be like, yeah, there is going to be. I'm like, is there going to be food there? And I'd be like, yeah, but I don't know if I can come. So
should have probably stopped attending baby showers.
Well, you can't, though, can you? Like, but honestly, I would have, and even to the point, me and Sarah had conversation with like, when Frank and Ella, if they have children, I don't know if I'm going to be around them, because I had such a traumatic fear of babies.
Yeah, no.
And it is hard how we know those things are in the world, but we also know that there are so many babies out there who are absolutely fine, and so many families that have absolutely zero worries. So you have to turn the perspective round to be that, and that's what the hypnotherapy review has, I think, helped my unconscious conscious to really grasp onto a bit more. It's still certainly there, but there are so many things in life that are great. I mean, we all have kids. We have all had trauma throughout trying or having, like children, but we still have them and we still love them and they're still incredible. And I think that's probably the bit we have to latch on the most. We've all spoken about how we weren't really supported in that, but we've all got 3 amazing wives who we all communicate really well to and who are there. We have families who are there for us. We have each other. So they're the things to probably highlight the most. So yeah, I can't imagine your worry, but it's really good to hear that you're really excited for it too, because it is going to be fine. Like, it is going to be.
It will be.
Yeah.
Manifest.
Yeah, without a doubt.
It will be. Fingers crossed.
It'll be fine. Fingers crossed.
It will be.
I'm going to come on to the penultimate question. Is there anything, or what do you wish someone had told you before you became a dad? Or maybe a different question would be, what advice or what would you say to someone that's going to become a dad? What would your advice be?
Have the best relationship, and I don't mean necessarily loving relationship, but have the best relationship in terms of communication, understanding and forgiveness with the person you're having a baby with. The biggest thing that got me and Sarah and Frankie and Ella to the point where we are fine and we are all okay, was me and Sarah being a team. And it doesn't have to be that you are together in a relationship, but you have to allow each other to mess up, you have to allow each other to learn, you have to teach each other, you have to communicate. And I wear it such a pride of honour as me and Sarah got through living in London in a Ronald McDonald Hospital for God knows how long, and then in Medway Hospital for so long, and we genuinely only had about 2 or 3 arguments in one of our most stressful, horrible times. And we came out so much stronger because of how much we forgave each other and helped each other. And that's probably mine.
Yeah, solid piece of advice. What about you, Luke?
The old cliche. Really enjoy it. I love Stephen Spitz, as we've all said about our own children, and we will always say about our own children. We're not going to broadcast that we don't. There's very very few times that I really go, like I get angry with him. I get maybe annoyed at him for something he does. That's humans. I get annoyed at everyone. As I said, we can't not, can we? And the thing is, it's just really enjoy it. Yes, kind of off what you've said, it's made it easier for me to enjoy it with Charlie. Charlie's very trusting with me. She's always supported me in what I want to do with Stephen, and sometimes I'm sure she goes, Luke, why are you doing that? It's just, why are you starting a fight with him just before bedtime type thing? And it's that type of thing, but it's every moment I think could be the last moment, in the sense of he's 7, coming on 7 now. He's stopping wanting to kind of give me hugs and kisses out in public now. So I'm getting it as much as possible. If I can get a cuddle from him before he goes into school, he might not want to give me a kiss because his friends are around and stuff, so be it. But I'm holding on to that cuddle now. In a couple of years, he's probably going to drop the cuddle. But before we went, I came out today. He was sitting on me. We were watching TV, and he still wanted to cuddle. So it's enjoying every bit of their moments as possible. I was very lucky that. I was very lucky. Charlie had a very traumatic birth. However, because of that, the baby was given straight to me. And I got 15, 20 minutes of just pure cuddles. Not many men get that, because the baby goes straight to the woman and right, that's it. But I got that. and I always say that's one of my proudest and best moments, because I just kind of walked up and down this little reception room, and it was amazing. But just really enjoy everything that happens, the bad and sometimes the negatives. Like, Stephen woke up at stupid o'clock today, didn't want to go back to bed. He was crying, he was all sorts. I opened his bedroom today and he's made a fort out of all of his teddy bears. Do you know what I mean? It's turning that, and it's going to clean that up. It's carnage. He's got too many teddy bears. It's turning that negative into a positive, because just you're enjoying the moment. And it is so cliche and so kind of like Hollywood type thing, but it really is just trying to enjoy it.
I do appreciate that, because I don't think I do that enough. I literally listen to Hannah, but I know that I don't do that enough, and I need to do it more. And probably every day I think.
But it's like you were saying on the way up, like the girls came in and woke you up today or the other day, and came round to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? They came back. They wanted you, and take that as, because it's at a certain point they're not going to do that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm not picking on you, but it's not that.
No, but I do think if I was to compare me and you, I do think you not that I'm saying I don't, but I think you enjoy absolutely every moment of your child more than I do mine. I look at mine, I think I've got to get them to that finished article of being fine when they're an adult. They're only 6.
But we never know if that finished article. If you look at my mum, and my mum was to go, right, let's make the finished article, I bet she wouldn't make me. Do you know what I mean?
Not many would.
No,
No,
do you
no,
know what I mean? So you don't know. So
but I need to look at mine a lot more as my little girls.
Yeah.
And sometimes.
And they're lovely little girls.
I don't. I was saying, when you're saying you won't hug you anymore, don't worry, Frank and Ella will still hug you. Do you know that?
And they will. Yeah.
They were really upset with me because they couldn't come to come see you two.
Yeah.
They were literally like, "No, I want to go see Uncle Brian and Uncle Luke too." I was like, "No, sorry, it's
Maybe
just
get them on the podcast.
It's just dead love."
But again, they are really huggy girls and all sorts.
They hug anyone.
And remember, yeah,
anyone.
But there will be a time that they will not want to, and
I don't know.
And it's going to be like,
not with them two.
It might be a little older and all sorts,
yeah, like
but
50.
or they don't want to come downstairs because they put makeup on and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I always try and take the little moments.
Yeah. So as much as you say it is Hollywood, I think I love my children very much and I play with them loads. But I take that as I look at something, I actually need to take that advice on and do it more. And I don't think you'd look at me and think I'm a grumpy, horrible, strict dad. But I know I am that too much. So I need to enjoy it more. So it might be the Hollywood advice, but it is advice I 1,000% need to take on, like, from today, and then try and do it, and not just do it for a week, but do it for as long as I can. But yeah, what about you?
I'm just going to really try not to copy both your answers because they're really good answers.
We know.
I think, as well as your answers, I think also embrace the bad, because it's not going to be bad forever. It kind of links into like what you're saying about communication and stuff. I think embrace everything. Embrace the good and the bad, because I think in the moments where you think this isn't going very well, I think they're the moments where you learn the most.
Yeah.
And just have that mindset of, okay, next time I'm going to do it slightly differently. I probably need to do that myself a lot more. And I try and say that out loud to Evie sometimes as well. If there's a moment where I've maybe raised my voice or shouted or said something maybe I shouldn't have, or it's like, okay, I'm sorry, I'll be accountable. I think. It just sort of, next time I'll do better. Because I think showing your children your vulnerability and that actually you're not perfect, I think will set them up better later in life as well. being accountable. Be accountable for everything that you do, and embrace those learning opportunities,
Yeah.
as well as those moments, those good moments, and hold on to a hug for a little longer than you should, or yeah.
I think accountability I do think that is big there. I think sometimes because I know I shout at the girls a bit too much, there are sometimes, but I'll say to them, I am very sorry I shouted at you then. I'll be like, you was irritating me and you shouldn't have done this.
Yeah.
But I'm very sorry I shouted at you, or I shouted at you for so long.
Do you understand why I'm doing it? That's what I need to know.
Yeah.
And then,
But
next time I'm going to do it differently.
Or even I had Ellie the other day. I think I wasn't feeling in a great mood. I think it was on Tuesday. I wasn't feeling in a very good mood. I was feeling all out of sorts. I think Ella came up to me and was just like, "Dad, are you feeling sad?" And I really wanted to say, "No, I'm fine." And I literally went, "Oh," and I thought about it and thought, "Actually, yeah, Ella, I am feeling a little bit sad." And she was like, "I'm really sorry you're feeling sad," and gave me a hug.
Oh, bless her.
And it actually made me feel better at that moment. But I had to take that moment where I was saying, like, I'm trying to learn to still be better. I wanted to just be like, brush it off, be like, no, I'm fine, just go away, just leave me on my own. But I took that moment of, actually, if I communicate to her with, because I hadn't thought, oh, I'm feeling sad, until she went, oh, you're feeling sad. And I actually thought, oh, yeah, I am, actually. And then little 6-year-old her made me feel better. Like, just being like, I'm really sorry you're feeling sad, Daddy. Just gave me that hug and just went on her way. And it did make me feel better. So that accountability, that teaching them of, this is what is going on, and I'm going to communicate it, and actually this can be better.
So the last question: is there anything that you're taking away from this conversation today?
Nope.
No.
Every time. I find it mad how easy it is to talk about parenting. Like it is. I feel like we could keep going for another hour or two. I know I could talk for an entire day about my experience of Ella. Well, not even then get on to talk about Frankie kind of thing.
Yeah.
I mean, talking about your experiences and what you've been through, I think it just rolls off the tongue. But I think it is important and nice to hear others as well. I think that's what it's so easy. It's so easy for us. I think we could talk for ages about being parents.
And we do.
Yeah.
I think I've always been quite vocal about it, but I enjoy it. I just enjoy being a dad to Stephen.
Yeah.
It could be different if I had. I can guarantee if I had a little girl, that would be wrapped around my little finger. I'd be screwed. I know they would. I know I would have been sorry if. I know you too. But I just again, hearing me say it kind of like out loud, which we never really do. We never talk out loud to ourselves. But yeah, saying it out loud makes you go, you know what? I really am proud of mine and Charlotte's relationship.
You can see how much you enjoy it.
So
when you talk about it, you can see the enjoyment.
Yeah.
1,000%.
He's a good little boy, isn't he?
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, he is.
about yourself.
Yeah, I echo that really. I think how much I do enjoy being a dad, and I do feel it's always been something that's felt natural. Like I've always wanted to be that. But equally, I think it's the first time I kind of said out loud, I still feel like I've got a lot of learning to do. I don't really know what that looks like or what I'm going to be learning, but I'm sure I'll find out in a few months' time.
That's going to hit you in the face no matter what.
I do feel apprehensive about a new baby, but I think equally I'm going to be more mindful about support afterwards. This time, I think.
What, for yourself? Yeah.
Yeah, well, for both of us really, because I know G didn't probably get as much support as she might have liked. But I guess it's that ability, like first time parents, you have no idea what you're doing. Second time, you'd like to think maybe you've got a little bit more of an idea.
I think you always hear people talking about, oh yeah, second kid. They're like, oh, watch the first one like a Hawk, second one. I'm like, oh yeah, they're somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm always curious what that would have been like. So it's going to be really interesting to hear
It's
it.
going to be
and
a
see
real learning experience.
Yeah, and how Evie reacts to it.
Yeah.
I think, I reckon honestly,
You're gonna be fine.
You took
Yeah, it's gonna
you
be
took
really
to Evie
interesting.
fine, and having that experience that you've got,
Mm.
just straight away, you're not going to be thinking, oh, is this the poo the right colour? Is this sick the right colour? It's
Yeah.
just going to be, well, we've had this before, it don't matter.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. You've done all right so far. We can't,
Yeah.
can't mess it up too much.
No.
Touch wood.
Too
And
much.
Parenting is all just trying,
Try,
yes,
yeah.
and loving, and I think we said before, just being present.
And I can guarantee if you asked any of our parents the thing that they've learned and the things that they're learning, I can almost guarantee they'll always say, we are still learning.
Yeah.
Because now you're not a parent that's looking after them as such. It's your role changes as a dad or a mum the older they get.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, thank you very much, Rich. We've missed you. Although I haven't really noticed he's not here.
Yeah.
Might
We
cut
didn't
that
get the
down.
balloon in it.
Oh yeah.
There's a pumpkin outside that's got a face on it. It looks very similar to him.
Let us know in the comments if you've missed Rich. If not, we won't.
We'll drop him for that.
Yeah, saves on the space in this room. Anyway.
Yeah, but this chair's been so comfortable.
But cheers, us. We'll see you next time. Thanks for listening to Between the Rolls with me, Michael Blown. If you've got any thoughts, feedback, or questions about today's episode, I'd love to hear from you. You can reach me by email at loquicounselling@outlook.com. That's LOQUI counselling@outlook.com, or through my website, www.loquicounselling.co.uk, or on social media at Loqui Counselling and Hypnotherapy. If you've enjoyed the conversation, please like, subscribe, and share it with someone who might relate. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time on Between the Rolls.